putting cases on those who are actually leading marches or holding a protest for the Palestinian, that I would say is quite unfortunate because if you look at Indian government's position, yes, if you look at the public space, especially the right-wing public space, which is very ardently pro-Israel, and for them, they actually buy into the Israeli narrative that Israel is fighting terrorism. Because Palestinians or Hamas is fundamentally a terrorist organization, and Hamas triggered this war on October 7, and what Israel is doing is fighting terrorism. Because Netanyahu and his ministers initially compared Hamas to Islamic State, and Netanyahu is also saying that this is our second world war, like you bombed Dresden and we are bombing Gaza. So this narrative is being bought especially by the right-wing public space. But Indian government's position, I think I would suggest that it's a bit more nuanced. It's true that the Prime Minister, immediately after the October 7 attack, the Prime Minister tweeted saying that India stands in solidarity with the Israelis, etc., etc. And immediately after that, the MEA would issue a statement saying that India's support for the Palestinian cause remains intact. And the MEA also says that India continues to support the two-state solution. And if you look at the voting records of the Indian government at the UNGA, there were 7 UNGA votes on this issue ever since October 7. And India abstained from 2 votes. And India voted in favor of 5 votes of the UNGA. One was explicitly condemning Israel's continuing settlements in the West Bank. And then one was actually asking Israel to pull back from Syria's Golan Heights. 2 resolutions called for a ceasefire, and 1 resolution supported Palestinian right to self-determination. So the obvious question is that if this is what your government's position, why should it be a problem raising support for the Palestinian cause in this country? That is one thing. But clearly, if you look at the policy, I think we would see both changes and continuity in India's position. So this position India is taking on also because if you look at Global South, the Global South public opinion is overwhelmingly in favor of the Palestinian cause. You look at Brazil, you look at South Africa, which has taken Israel to the International Court of Justice. You look at China, you look at Russia, the countries that actually want to be the leaders of the Global South. For them, the Palestinian issue it's basically a matter of consensus. So India can't deviate entirely from this issue. But at the same time, if you look at the specifics of India's position towards the Palestinian cause, yes, India used to be a great champion of the Palestinian cause, we are no longer. And at least until 2015, India's position was that India supports the creation of a Palestinian state based on the 1967 border, with East Jerusalem being its capital. But from 2015 onwards, India doesn't talk about the border, India doesn't talk about Jerusalem, India doesn't talk about the plight of the refugees.